Yo, what up? My name is Don, and if you don't already know, Season 5 of Diablo 4 started earlier today, and I have been enjoying leveling up in Season 5. And I just wanted to quickly talk about and highlight some of the things that I think are a great reason to start playing if you've been on the fence. So this video is targeted towards the players who may have left the game or players who haven't played Diablo 4 yet and are thinking of jumping in, because I think there's no better time to jump in. So without further ado, let's hop into it. All right, so season 5 builds on all the awesome lessons that were implemented in season 4 and that were learned from seasons previously. And I honestly have had a blast leveling so far. I've only put about 6.5, maybe 7-ish hours into the game so far. My character is already level 52, 53, I think. And so season 5 came with a plethora of quality of life updates, changes, fixes to the game, etc., etc., etc. And it is so far the biggest patch to the game to date. And so if you want to take a closer look at everything, I really suggest you dig into those patch notes, because it's more than I could ever include in a short 10 to 12 or some odd minute video. But I just wanted to highlight some of the things that I think are great reasons to jump in right now. And so I have some notes here on top of my own personal opinions. But first of all, some quality of life changes that are awesome to the game, starting out, which is things that were annoyances, even persisting in season 4, even though season 4 was a great takeoff point. So for some quality of life changes, we have the Beast in Ice, for example, is in a smaller dungeon. You don't need to make a sigil to get to the Beast in Ice. Varshan is only requiring a heart now instead of a heart, head, and a femur. But there is a little issue in the game where those other body parts are still spawning. They came out with all sorts of reasons to, um, I guess, entice the player. This comes, as another step in the right direction from Season 4, which was one of my biggest gripes with the game, which was there wasn't enough player power. And I wanted a lot of the game to revolve around the player having more power, more choice. And so one of the things that's awesome is there's 5 uniques, 5 new uniques for all classes. There's 7 new aspects. And on top of that, there's 2 unique there's two additional uniques for each individual class. So there's two new Barb uniques, Druid uniques, Necro, Rogue, and Sork uniques. And for each 5 of those classes, there are 3 new aspects. I'm not going to go over all of them, but they are in the patch notes, and they do have visuals at the bottom of the patch notes. So if you just want to glance at them quickly instead of reading into all the text, which can be overwhelming, you can absolutely do that. All the uniques, this is a little dev note. They said all the uniques have received an update to better align them with their current design philosophy for unique items. And I believe, going over their design philosophy, this isn't a quote or anything, but they really wanted uniques to feel special. And so, for example, I can definitely tell you that uniques have been not only stat bolstered, but they definitely feel unique. You feel more than just having a bunch of legendaries, which started to feel commonplace. Uniques make your class feel above and beyond now, and so like I got a unique sword, the Crimson Blood, a 2-handed sword earlier today, and I played into the effects of it, and wow, is it just absolutely bombing! It's really helping me level up super fast, and so um, you know I haven't played the previous 4 seasons. The uniques haven't felt this awesome, and it really is a night and day difference from how lackluster they felt previously, and to the point where most people would forego even using them. Um, there are new tempering recipes. For example, critical strike damage. This is, I believe, never mind. Anyways, yeah, critical strike. So the new tempering recipes are critical strike damage, vulnerable damage, overpower damage, and ultimate damage. And then there was a developer's note. They're looking to expand what affixes are available, for example, within the utility category, and kind of uh, changing around some of the categories of the tempers that you can apply. So they're saying that they want to expand the affixes that are available within the utility category to bring more depth and variety to tempering. For example, Barbarian Innovation, they are doing Earthquake duration is going to be, I think Barbarian Innovation is the category, and the temperings that are going to be within that category are Earthquake duration. This is moving over from Wasteland augments, Vulnerable duration, moving over from Furious augments, and Frenzy duration, moving over from Berserking augments. There's also examples for the Druid and the Rogue, such as Hurricane moving over from Storm augments, Lightning Storm duration moving over from Storm augments, Petrify duration from Earth augments, Cyclone armor active size moving over from Nature Magic Wall, and for the Rogue we have Invigorating Strike duration moving over from basic augments, Twisting Blades return time reduction moving over from core augments, Flurry size from core augments, and a Heartseeker duration moving over from basic augments. So all sorts of new ways, again, to have more player choice overall. I really do think when it comes to the tempering system, they still need a way to make it feel like you're not just wasting items. When it comes to bricking items, they still need a way, I think, to recoup items. But tempering does feel really good, and I do like how it just adds another layer to making your items feel even more powerful, even if you're going to build an item up from a rare. For the endgame bosses, the summoning urn now responds after the boss is defeated. This is something that was player requested for a long time, and it's just a great quality of life update in general. This allows players to more quickly reset and defeat the bosses, like reset the boss, the dungeon. The Beast of Night coming back to this, it now functions as a standard dungeon. So you, like I said previously, you don't have to craft a sigil anymore, and therefore take up all that inventory space and holding the sigils. Because I sometimes myself would hold 3 to 5 sigils at a time when I crafted them, just to make them. Sometimes I wouldn't do all 5 fights, so there'd be a couple sigils sitting over in my inventory, which was a little bit annoying. But after defeating the Beast of Nice, you can immediately resummon the boss. You don't have to, exit the dungeon and go back in, which was the longest, biggest, most annoying dungeon of all the bosses to farm, especially if you were target farming and you needed an item from the Beast and Ice. The boss is now much closer to the entrance, so, being that it's a standard dungeon, that goes both in the way of summoning it, in opening it, and the fact that it's more like the other bosses. It's no longer this big twisting, chasm. It's just a regular entrance, a regular cave size, and once again, they remove the sigil dust as a material cost to some of the Beast Knights, so that's just awesome. This is really going to reduce the. It sounds like gatekeeping, right? Just reduce the frustration that you had to go through to farm this boss. Now back to Varshan. Summoning Varshan only requires Malignant Hearts. This is supposed to be the truth, although Trembling Hands, Blackened Femurs, and Gurgling Heads are still dropping in the game. The patch notes say those items have been removed from the game, but as you know, I do have footage here which does show that those items are still dropping, and so they're going to have to address that in the next little patch. It does say that eternal characters that have the other body parts can convert them to hearts at the Alchemist. I'm not sure if that's functioning as it should right now if you do have the other body parts, but regardless, they are still dropping, so I guess that just means more hearts. For the Helltide, the way Baneful Hearts are earned has been adjusted. So the chance to get one from a Tortured Gift starts at 15% and increases each time you fail to get one. Once you are rewarded with a Baneful Heart, the chance resets to 15, so that's pretty cool. This, again, incentivizes you going for those Tortured Gifts, and which, when you're leveling anyway, is a great experience bonus. So, the Hellborn and Helltide Assassins start with a 1% chance to drop a heart and increase each time you fail to get one. It resets to 1% chance, once you get one. The Helltide Commanders always drop a heart. A world boss spawned in an active Helltide zone will drop 3 hearts. Local event chests have a small chance to grant hearts when achieving mastery. And threat gain now consistently scales with the health of slain monsters. That's just an added little tidbit there. Helltide Whispers, they only spawn in one subzone, as opposed to both subzones of the Helltide. These Whispers will always add up to 10 Grim Favors. The icons have been updated to be consistent with the other Whispers. And when you're doing just quests within the zone, for example, when you're doing culling quests, when it comes down to just area or zone quests, Um, Especially the Cull Demons quest. This now includes Fallen, which I never understood why Fallen weren't demons before. I'm not sure what family they fell under before, if not demons, but this makes sense now. And Cull Fallen replaced with Cull Cultists as far as a monster family that you're going to farm. The Profane Mind Cages, they are returning this season, in the season of Infernal Hordes. They always drop from the Hellborn. They can be stacked up to 3 times, increasing the monster level by up to 30 above your level, and they are only available in the seasonal realm. In World Tiers 1 and 2, the Blood Maiden now requires only 2 Baneful Hearts to summon, which is something that I noticed leveling up earlier today. I looked on the map, I was like, why is there only 2 summoning posts? But the Tortured Gift, the World Tiers 3 and 4 are most likely going to require 3 again. I actually haven't ran into a summoning area in a Helltide yet, but most likely going to require 3. Tortured Gift chests in World Tiers 1 and 2 now require 75 cinders instead of 100 to open, and every chest in World Tiers 1 and 2 is a tortured chest of mysteries instead of a tortured chest of a specific type, so just note that as well. And then coming up to loot rewards, we have Resplendent Sparks awards for defeating tormented bosses can now be earned separately on both hardcore and non-hardcore modes. Resplendent Sparks and Scattered Prisms will no longer be automatically picked up. Additionally, these items can now be found in the Lost Item Stash if forgotten on the ground. Unique and Mythic items can now be acquired from Whisper Caches, Purveyors of Curiosity, and Tortured Gifts in Helltide. The chance to find mythic items through all non-boss means has been increased, which is pretty cool. Treasure Goblin drop quality has been improved. Again, something that has been a pain in the backside for a long time. I'm not sure. It always seemed for a while that goblins have just been an afterthought or just been a thing that you kill, and there's no hurrah feeling, there's no good feeling. So it's good that they are paying attention to that, and hopefully continue to pay attention to that and are willing to tweak it if it's still not enough or if it's too much. But so far, goblins have been tweaked to be able to drop 1 to 3 legendary items and 2 to 6 rare items. And there's just a dev note here. The higher the number of legendary drops, the lower the number of rare drops. So, I think they're going to max it out at 6. They're saying the opposite is also true, and they give an example. If 2 legendary items drop, then 4 rare items will drop alongside. And this suggests that if, say, 4 legendary items drop, only 2 rare items are going to drop alongside, or say 5 to 1, or 6 legendaries and no rares. Either way, it looks like they're suggesting that 6 is the max, and this is how it's going to work. Additionally, when it comes to materials, common ore, herbs, leather, and gem fragments will always drop. This is from Treasure Goblins. Treasure Goblins can also drop Forgotten Souls in World Tiers 3 and 4. They now have a 10, 20, and up to 30% chance to drop 1 to 2 Scattered Prisms in World Tiers 1, 2, and World Tiers 3, and World Tier 4, respectively. So that's going to probably be 10% chance in World Tier 1, 20% chance in World Tier 2, and 30% chance in World Tiers 3 and 4. Treasure Goblins drop 1 to 2 elixirs now, and the gold drop is increased. Example, level 1 in World Tier 1 is 40k gold, and level 100, this is for you, in World Tier 4 is going to be up to 150k gold. And that's really all the things that I wanted to touch on for the patch notes. Honestly, there's a whole lot of fixes and updates to skills and items that weren't working the way that they were intended to work. But regardless, just for the experience of playing the game, it has never been better. And I think that they've only everything they've done has been in a positive direction. I think that they've learned a lot of lessons from season 1 to 3, and they started off on a clean slate, a very good direction and clean slate in season 4, and now they're doubling down on that in season 5. And like I said at the beginning, there's no better time for new players to get in. There's no better time for players who maybe have left the game in previous seasons because of frustrations that they hadn't addressed to come back in, because it seems like they're addressing everything and they really understand what makes the game replayable over and over and over. So from the new events that you get that I haven't even talked about, which is the Infernal Hordes in World Tier 3, which we do have footage of. You do see footage of on screen. That is such a fun event. Honestly, I think that the storyline of the season, even though it almost is like in the background, the season
Here's the
itself,
Infernal
just playing
Compass
the
in
game
case the
itself,
Infernal
has become a
Hordes.
whole lot more fun. Just finding items
Tap to
themselves,
zoom in
and
on Infernal Compass, open the map, and
leaning
select
into
it.
your power as opposed to
Bed
borrowed
needs
power and a
complete
storyline
fit
that strings
within
you
the
along.
violent slave
The
clothes.
experience has never
Build
been
cart
better.
to
So I
spawn
really
more.
think, like I said at the beginning, right now is the time to jump into Diablo 4. What are you waiting for? If you have been enjoying the season, I would love to know what your favorite thing is about the season so far, or something that is more specific, like item or class specific. And if you've been thinking about the game for a while, let us know what you think. And so, as always, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.